we drop viewers every time. Anyways, what is going on, YouTube? We are just getting started with an Amazon FBA Q&A. We got the TikTok live right here. Also, can anyone notice anything different about the background? How do you solve shiny object syndrome when finding profitable products? Can you expand on that a little bit? See, every time I do the YT intro, we drop a few viewers. Now, the blue lights have been there. Well, sometimes these ones aren't on, actually. So if you haven't been around when those are on, then yes, you are right. But those have been around. Something else. Let's see if y'all can catch what's new about the background. But can you expand on shiny object syndrome? Nobody? Do you mean like, how do you not launch a product that just looks good? Or yeah, expand on that, because I feel like that's a good question, but I just want to make sure that I'm answering it. GTR Lego. The Porsche is newer, but that's been there for probably like 2 or 3 weeks now. This shelf's about to be sick. There's another thing in the works that's going to be added to the shelf. It'll probably be added right there. YT can't see what's above these middle shelves, but got a new book. No, the books have been there. The books are actually the OG backgrounds. If I want to sell something, can I copy my competitor and just change the color, for example, bookshelf? No, changing a color is not a differentiator for your product. Do not just change the color. You want to improve the design, not improve the quality. Improving the quality is also not a differentiator. You want to improve the design, or you want to add bonus items that are relevant to the main product, that add value to the customer. Don't just add a bonus item because you want to say, check it off the list and be like, oh, I added a bonus item. I find a competitive niche and I see that new sellers are making money. I don't know if that counts as an SOS. It depends on how many new sellers, and it depends on how competitive the niche is. You really do want it to be like an up-and-coming market, not necessarily an established market. Alex was good, my guy, one of the AMZ Masterclass students. Good to see you, and thank you for sharing the live. Always supporting. But you do want it to be an up-and-coming market, and the reason behind that is because you want to grow with, excuse me, down the wrong pipe. You want to grow with the market. You don't want to be necessarily playing this really deep catch up with the market. So that's why I say like 500, 600, 700. I literally only yawn when I'm laying down, when I'm sitting in my barber chair, or when I'm on TikTok live recently. I don't know why. Can I tell you the product? I don't care if I put it on blast. Maybe everyone can learn. Sure, why not? Alex says, go. Thank you for sharing the live multiple times, brother. Y'all always got to thank Alex. I know there's a few other people liking, like I saw Nobody, and I know Zero was earlier. But y'all always got to thank Alex because he single-handedly carries us to our light goals. Cold plunge tab, that product is overplayed, brother. I've seen that market plenty of times. The main keyword I'm pretty sure is ice tub. I think maybe like a year or two ago, if you had mentioned it to me, I think it'd be a decent product. Another thing that you have to consider is that it's summertime right now, so that product's going to do a lot better. I wouldn't call it seasonal, but yeah, it is going to look a lot better right now. I'm just pulling up the data here. I have too many always have too many tabs open. So we can go over it. But yeah, I personally wouldn't launch in that market. You have to have a really good differentiator. What do you use for data analysis? I use Helium 10. I think Helium 10 is one of the best softwares out there. To be honest, like I even wanted to move away from Helium 10 and I tried some other softwares, and that was more so for back-end reasons, some things that they did to like their creators and affiliates. But just not, I don't prefer Jungle Scout. I tried one called, I think it's Smart Scout. It was cool, but I didn't love it. The market doesn't necessarily look bad here, nobody, but the problem is, the problem is that you really would have to have a really strong differentiator. Oh wait, it's not ice tub, sorry, it's ice bathtub. Let me double check that that's the main keyword. Yeah, ice bathtub. Or maybe even ice bath. Let me confirm. Keep answering questions while I pull that up. Yeah, ice bath, not ice bathtub. Do you recommend it for someone who hasn't even sourced anything yet? Yes, because you have to do product research with it. So you're not going to use it after you've sourced a product. You're going to use it to source a product. It's what I use for product research. How much capital do you need to start? I would say 3K USD, Vincent. I have some videos breaking down like how much it costs to start selling on Amazon, and the range that I got was, from 3K to around 6K. And that depends on how you're launching. Are you starting with an LLC? Are you getting brand registry? But that's usually all in. I want to get into Amazon FBA. What product do you recommend, please, sir? Nobody's going to necessarily recommend you a product just on the internet, Amir, nor should you look at a product like that. Because I've said this in videos before, like I have no net benefit to me by sharing a product to TikTok. Like a product that I would actually launch. I would either A, launch it for myself, or B, give it to one of my mentorship students who does product selection. And I don't think and I think everybody who tries to say this is a good product, like I even have videos on my page showing, hey, here's what a good product market looks like. But at the end of every single one of those videos, I share, okay, but I wouldn't launch this product for XYZ reason. Now I'll go over what makes a good product. But not actually just give someone a product. What does differentiator mean? So differentiator, so think of the word different, right? I'm trying to launch something different than my competitor. Differentiator being that different factor. So let's say that you are launching water bottle. TikTok, this is not my product. This is not my product. I am not promoting this product. I'm showing an example. This is not my product. This is not my product. This is not my product. I have to say that. So imagine everybody had a cup with a lid and a straw. A differentiator that this seller did was, instead of just making it a regular cup with straw, hold on. They also you could take the straw out, and it's also used as a coffee mug. Again, not my product, not promoting this product. So something like that, they optimize the design, or maybe as bonus items, you dropped an extra straw and a straw cleaner. Vincent, thank you so much for the follow. How long did it take you to get 6 figures profit? Like 2 years? Rather learn the skill than have it handed to me? Yes, 100%. How do I send my product to Vine program? Apply for brand registry, and then there will be an option. I forgot exactly where, but it'll say Vine in the, I think, brand registry dashboard, where you can submit your products. We hit 4K. Let's do it. Nice. Let's do it. Let me just catch up on questions, and then we'll get it going. Keep asking your questions, though. How much profit have you made? 7+ figures over the lifetime, or actually probably closer to 8 over the lifetime of me selling on Amazon. Why is money up there? These are my Amazon sales from the last 365 days. Got my first 2 ever sales today, both organic. I don't know what happened. Is there a reason? Maybe you're ranked organically right now, right off the bat, which does happen. Does the AMC accounting service include tax services? I can give recommendations to CPAs, but the accounting service is for bookkeeping and getting your books ready, like all of your spend, your expenses, and everything like that, and being able to give that to a CPA, because a lot of people struggle with that. So I create services for the mentorship that I see people struggling with, like product research, product selection. We had, people not necessarily getting the best quality listings done on Fiverr. I gave them access to my listing creation team. People were struggling with getting really high quotes on shipping with like freight forwarders like Forwarder One. So we created our own freight forwarding company. The inspections on Alibaba were not necessarily the best. So we created our own inspection service. So a lot of the things are like problem solving services that I created. Only 10 minutes to reach the like and share goal. Yep, I'm telling you, when everybody actually starts liking and sharing the live, we get to our goal much faster. So let's do this. Let's somebody choose a market. No, and every time I do that, I feel like people are going to think people will give a suggestion and then they want me to essentially differentiate their product for them. Can anyone use your inspection service? No, Kimberly, it's exclusive to my students. Wanted to add as much value to my students. So supplements do well. I would not recommend supplements as a beginner. You're going to need way more capital, and it's much more competitive. Supplements is probably top 5 most competitive types of products that you can launch on Amazon. You better have a way better strategy outside of Amazon if you're going to launch them. And as a beginner, why not launch a product that has an equal amount of potential with less work? ChatGPT advised me to enroll 10, then 20 later into Vine Smart, or just do 30 at once. This is why you don't listen to ChatGPT for your Amazon stuff, guys. AI is great. I love AI. I created an AI software for Amazon sellers, but ChatGPT is not an Amazon seller. That being said, once you submit products into Vine, you can't submit 10 now and 20 later. Once you submit those 10, that's the only 10 that you can submit for that product. And I'm glad that you left that comment so that I can clarify that. And number 2, because you guys should not rely on ChatGPT for your differentiator. It doesn't have the market data on Amazon. It doesn't understand what differentiation is on Amazon. It's not going to pick your product for you. It doesn't have the market data. It doesn't have access to Amazon's API. Do you recommend inspection? Yes, you need to get an inspection every time you are ordering a product, in my opinion. What do you do about bad reviews? Well, you can't always do something about bad reviews. It depends on what the bad review is for. There are some very rarely that are against Amazon's TOS and you can get them removed. That's maybe less than 1% of the time. Most of the time they're going to stick. If somebody received a damaged item, you can try to reach out to that customer and say, hey, we would love to send you a replacement item, and you can't ask them to change their review, but a lot of times having good customer service would be solid enough for people to go change the review themselves. How many units would you start with if your budget is 5K? 100 to 300 units. The answer is always 100 to 300 units. Learn, yes, always learn from the feedback that you get from customers. Yep, he's redoing my main image. Hopefully that will get me more clicks. Updated the photo. Yes, sir. I told you, brother. I told you. I know you were one of the few people who like were genuinely just asking. A lot of people come in and are like, "You never update it. You've been in my live twice, all in the same month." Of course, I'm not going to update it every day. It takes a lot of work. Not a lot of work, but it's too much work for me. I just want to click live and go. So we update it every month. I have a generic product that I want to get brand registered. How can I label the packaging to meet the requirements? Can I apply a label? Yes, you can also have your manufacturer create like a one-off unit of the box. I'm not saying that I have done this, but allegedly I know of somebody who's even though Amazon doesn't accept AI, like generated images and stuff like that, I know people who have gotten away with being able to just edit their name onto a product packaging. So I'm not suggesting that. I'm just simply telling you what I've heard and seen. All right. Do we want to? Sup, bro? Just saying hi today. Was good, noob. I actually created a video. I haven't posted it yet, obviously, but I created a video response to the last comment that you made on my video about your negative 10% margins. So stay tuned for that one and be giving you some advice on how to get that hopefully turned around, brother. Is 150 to 200 units enough once you start using PPC? For your very first order, yes. You want to get proof of concept, guys. I think one of the big misconceptions that's not talked about enough, I do hear people talk about it, but just not enough, is they make it seem like, okay, you sell on Amazon, you just list the product and boom, you run to the bank with all your money. Well, no, because your very first order is to get proof of concept, to see how well that product performs, collect market data. Did you launch a good differentiator? Ooh, hear that back crack? Once brand registered, do the packages need to always be labeled? No, they don't. They do not. All right, let's do differentiation. What kind of product should we differentiate? Somebody give me a category and then I'll choose a product. We'll go over how I would differentiate a specific market. Actually, I'll show you guys how to collect data to differentiate a product. Pets, okay, let's do that. Let me look for a product. Keep asking your questions, but let's look for a product. What would be a good one to differentiate? What would be a good one? I think maybe this one would be good. Yeah, let's do this one. Dog car seat cover. I'm going to show you on my screen here in a second. Don't you worry. You know what really bugs me? Is people who come onto my social media soliciting. I'd say my two most common DMs that I get literally every single day are, bro, teach me how to sell on Amazon, which I love those questions. I love those DMs. I don't mind them. And then the ones that I absolutely despise are people who come in and are like, let me write scripts for your video. Let me do this for this. Let me do this for this. Let me be a setter for you. Let me be a closer for you. Like, I respect the hustle. Don't get me wrong. But also, stop it. Is not a fan of soliciting people's services to me. It's like, imagine how like annoying it would be if I just started DMing all of you guys. Guys, I'll help you start selling on Amazon. Like if I was the one DMing you, as opposed to you DMing me. All right. So let's do it. Is that mean to say? Like, again, I respect the hustle, but I don't want people's services. It's like if somebody's looking and you like apply for a job on Upwork or something, like all power to you. But like when I see somebody come in and they're like, we'll help optimize your sales funnel. It's like, well, you clearly don't have the experience to help people optimize their sales funnel if you have to go DMing people. Do you ever bid short tail keywords? I do not recommend that. No, not until like we do on some of our larger accounts, but I never recommend that as a beginner until you're profitable on your ads, until you have a good amount of sales. All right, so we're going over how to date a product, what I would do. So we have dog's car seat cover right here. Differentiate meaning adding value to the competition. And I'll kind of give you all a breakdown of like how I would go about this on any market. Like literally, some people say like, oh, this is a hard market to differentiate. I don't necessarily believe that. I want to register my trademark. They're asking me to have an active listing. How does it work? You can create a mock listing, bro. Get it to inactive out of stock status, and then use that as your listing. I've done that allegedly a couple times. Just got a charge on my Amex that I don't know what that is. Okay, so first things first is I kind of scroll through. Luke the Goat, appreciate you, Panagodius. Real quick. Oh, I feel bad. Sorry, I didn't mean to make you delete the comments, bro. But yeah, I don't love the soliciting, brother. That's a YT comment for everyone who's wondering what I'm talking about. So once you use PPC to push your product to page one, will 150 units be enough to stay on page one? I mean, you're going to go out of stock unless you're going to inject more capital. But remember what I said. The goal is to get proof of concept. Like you're not going to go dump tens of thousands of dollars into a product that you have no actual data on. And like kind of like these guys, people will look and be like, oh, this listing with 43 views, they do 10K sold units. Like I said, Emu, create a mock listing on Amazon, get the product at inactive out of stock status, and then use that listing link to get brand registry. But people will be like, oh, they have 10K plus bought in the past month. But it's like their success doesn't dictate your success. They have reviews. They've gotten their proof of concept. And that goes for every single one of these listings here. So you're going to most injecting more capital into your business. You're most likely going to go out of stock on your first order. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you have a good product before you go out of stock, you'll have a good product after you're back in stock. So we're going to pull up our Helium 10 Google Chrome extension. Wait for this to load. It's going to take forever because I have a bunch of tabs open that I can't close right now on the back end. It wasn't actually that bad. All right. So obviously not a product that I would launch in. 4,000 average reviews, way too established. But what I would do, if this was a product that I was going to launch and I wanted to differentiate, I would organize it here by parent level revenue, most to least. I would not set any filters aside from hide sponsored products. And I would go through and click on each one of these listings, right? And I would start to kind of get a baseline. So for example, let's say some were made out of leather and some were made out of suede. I would start to calculate every seller who was over 10K a month, because I'd say 10K would be my goal on a product. I would start to number. So like, let's see, there's 50 sellers on page one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of them don't make 10K a month. So 45 sellers who make 10K plus a month. All right. I would go through and I'd be like, and I would do this for every listing. So let's actually open up one of these tabs and show y'all an example. Okay. So let's say that I saw some with these little pouches or holders right here. I would count up how many sellers over 10K a month had those little pouches. So maybe it's 25 out of 45. And then I would go through and check the material. How many of them have a leather material? How many of them have a suede material? I would calculate that. I'd put it all in a document or a notes, like a notes or Google Docs. So 20 out of sellers have suede, 30 or 25 out of 45 sellers have leather. And then I would even look at things like the weight. How many sellers can, for this product, can hold more than, yes, that's okay, Vanis. And then I would see how many sellers can hold X amount of weight. So say 400 pounds or more. How many sellers do 400 pounds or less? And then let's go to another example. Let's kind of, I would even do how many sellers sell a gray color? How many sellers sell a black cover? Start compiling all of these data points. Akulu, thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate you and everybody in the live vibing. It doesn't matter if it'll ruin your rank, of course, but the thing is, it's not even ruin. You'll drop rank, yes, but you're trying to get proof of concept. Too many people are like focused on going out of stock. It's okay to go out of stock. I've gone out of stock for 50+% of my products, and they all do just fine. Going out of stock is not going to be the end all be all of your product. If you were able to get to page 1 before, you're getting proof of concept. Everybody write that word on a note page or in your notes, proof of concept. You're not trying to run to the bank. Now, if you have extra capital, then yeah, you can place a reorder once you've gotten that proof of concept. You know that your organic rank is increasing. You know that your conversion is optimal. You know that your listing is optimized in your, and that's why I start with 100 to 300 units. My sweet spot is like 200 units. That's why I'll start with that many units, because it's enough units to collect data on the product, see if the product is good or not. And if God forbid the product didn't work out, then let's assume that I lost it all, which is also hardly ever the case, because if I have a failed product, I'm able to recoup some of that back. But let's say that I put in 3K for cost of goods and shipping on a product, and I'm out that 3K. Better 3K than 10K going and ordering 1,000 units so you can avoid going out of stock on a product that you have no data on. All right, and then I would even would even go through designs, like how many designs are for a single seat, how many designs are for the whole back seat. And as I start to compile all of this data, I'm going to start taking ideas from each one of these top listings. So if a bunch of people have the black design, and then some people, maybe a couple top sellers have the little pouches, and then some of the top sellers have a leather design, right? I'm going to start adding that to what I want for my product, creating a hybrid. And then let's look at this one right here. You see this one has some extra pouches. So maybe I can come in and add extra pouches as well. But I'm still kind of following the trend of what these main sellers are doing, because they have the data. Don't you get data from Helium 10 before you list a product? But nothing to do with your product. Look at all these products, bro. 1 million a month, 800K a month, all of these listings. This is not your product. This is not your differentiator. This is not your listing. This is not your reviews. So the data on Helium 10 has nothing to do with how well you'll perform. Because if we go and we load more products here, past page 1, look at all these people. So all these top people, they're thousands a month. But what about all these people on page 2? 400 a month, 500 a month, 800 a month, 1,800 a month, 2,000 a month. These top people have nothing to do with your success, as we can see on all these products on page 2 here. 7K a month, 5K a month. Just because this seller does 1 million a month has no indicator, is no dictator to how much you're going to do on your product. Even if you copied them to a T, You copied their exact product. You copied their exact listing. You copied their exact images. You still don't have the proof of concept that they have. They have more reviews than you. So yes, Helium 10 gives us a baseline, but the baseline that I'm looking at is average reviews, average price, average revenue, total revenue, search volume, seasonality, how low reviewed sellers in the market are performing. Like, I'm not looking at any of these people's revenue and being, oh, well, if I only take 1% or 5% of their sales, like, no, that's not the way to look at selling on Amazon by any means. My product launch site date on Vine tab is set to the 15th. How can I change that? Well, Amazon allows you to submit your product earlier into Vine than it's available. Or is your product already available? Hey, Luke, what website are you on currently? I'm on Amazon, but I'm using the Helium 10 Google Chrome extension right now. The X-ray tool, which allows me to see the data for all of these products here. So back to this. Yes, already available. I somehow got to the two. Oh, yeah, that's right. You can contact support, or you can look at your back end on your listing and see when the launch date is. Okay, thanks. I'm wholesale brand direct guy. Thanks for explaining. Of course, C-Man. So as I start to compile my list, I'm going to, again, take ideas from a lot of these sellers, and then I'm going to start making those ideas different. So like if we saw that everybody had 2 pouches, maybe I add an extra pouch. That could be a potential differentiator. Do you offer a private label mentorship? I do, brother. It's in the TikTok bio. Or if we saw that a lot of sellers had a max weight capacity of 400 pounds, then I could come in and I would make mine 450 or 500, right? So you can improve something like that. If you saw that, you know, maybe only one seller had like a scratch proof design, you can come in and also add that, especially if that seller is doing good. I was looking at products in Helium 10 with average reviews 1K, but later on in the day it was 192. This is why it's always good to like go over here on Helium 10, go to the review section and organize it by most to least, because maybe you see a product that's like irrelevant and then maybe that product loses its rank because, or they could have went out of stock if they are relevant. So one of those two things could happen. Like, let's say that this was a dog toy. Obviously it's the same product, but let's just pretend to give an example. If this was a dog toy, but then all of a sudden it unranked for dog toy, and now you lose a listing on page 1 with 43,000 average reviews, even though I have page 2 up right now, so it's not going to make as big of a difference. But let's delete this one. It goes from 3,000 to 2,600, so it can drop if a listing, because remember, Helium 10 X-ray, let me refresh, because right now I'm using page 1 and 2. Our sellers, all sellers are selling black, offer a pink or purple? No. Differentiating is not changing the color. In fact, I would argue, let's wait for this to load again, or I could just show you this way. Like if all sellers are black product, it's probably an indicator that the black product is going to perform better. Or we can even go to this listing right here. Maybe I need a new computer. I have so many documents on here. But look, so they have their black listing, 4K plus bought in the last month. And then we go to their gray listing, 300 bought in the last month. We go to their black and orange listing. It doesn't even show 50 plus bought in the last month. When we go to their green and black listing, it doesn't even show 50 plus bought in the last month. We go to their red listing, 100 plus bought in the last month, but their black listing was the best one. So for when people think like, oh, all the top sellers sell black, so I'm going to sell yellow, but black sells the best. There's a reason for that. And this is what I mean when I say follow the data. So I'm taking ideas from all of these top sellers and I'm creating a hybrid listing. I'm not doing something so out of the ordinary that it's going to just, because differentiating, don't you want to stay on page 1 once you get there? Like I said, Venice, I think I explained it already, brother. In theory, yes, but you also want to get proof of concept. Remember that term I said, that phrase I said, write it down? Proof of concept. You spend money on PPC to rank and then run out of stock and it will take 2 months, but you're also establishing the product, bro. You're pushing for reviews. You're increasing your conversion. Like Amazon's not just list a product, call it a day, get to page 1 and I need to stay there. Because when you launch your product, you're not going to have, I doubt you're going to have the best conversion. Most of the time we have to optimize for conversion. So that is also why you want to get proof of concept. It's very straightforward, brother. Like I appreciate the questions, but like trying to justify something else when I'm like explaining, like you could go do it. At the end of the day, it's not my business. You know what I mean? Go order 2,000 units. But then if you can't increase your conversion, you can't even get to page 1. You are losing money on ads, and then you decide, man, this isn't a good product. You're stuck with 2,000 units. It's easy to get your product back in rank versus it's easier to get your product back in rank than it is to sit on a bunch of units that aren't selling. When using black box, should I be filtering ASIN revenue or parent revenue? You could play around with both, because when you're doing the black box method, X, you're just trying to get product ideas. What is your best suggestion between private label and wholesale? Don't do wholesale. It's a waste of time, in my opinion. Do you think it's okay to delete irrelevant products that are causing the average reviews to be inflated? So in some cases, yes, like if it's one product, but if you have to go through and delete like 5 products for desired results, then no, I don't think that it's okay. And then it's even more okay if like when you pull up your X-ray extension, which just for some reason isn't loading for me now. Still loading. If you have a product where it meets the criteria right off the bat, then I think it's okay to remove certain products. But like I do see some beginners who will go in. All right, what's going on here? We'll go back to, oh, there it is. I will see some sellers, like for example, right? High average reviews. And they go in and they're like, okay, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, delete. So we go from 3,700 to 2,000 and they're like, oh, nice. The market looks better. Obviously, this still doesn't meet the criteria, but that does nothing for you, because if you have to remove like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sellers, like they're still ranked on page 1. So like you manipulate the numbers to get your desired criteria, but then when you launch, you still have to deal with those people being ranked on Amazon. And let's take off the X-ray tool, even though I shouldn't have done that because it's going to take forever to look. Like here are these high average review sellers, 41,000, 1,700. Actually, that's PPC. 7,000, 2,000. Like you still have to deal with them being ranked on Amazon. So if one listing and you remove that one listing and now all of a sudden the numbers look better, okay, I think that's okay, especially if it meets all the other criteria points. But multiple listings, no, I don't ever recommend that, to be honest with you. Okay. So all in all, you're creating a hybrid listing. My favorite way to explain this for people to visualize, although all these already exist, is like if you're going to launch a whiteboard and you see one seller who has a whiteboard marker and they perform well. You see one seller who has, I miss you, Dad. I miss you too, son. I'll be back down there and we'll, oh, by the way, I don't know if you saw my text, but I'm actually still sore. My tries are still sore from that workout. As the day went on, I got more sore. So shout out to you. Even though he doesn't post on social media and I tell him to always post, make sure that y'all hit up my boy CM Fit if you want to get right in the gym. He's the most yacked guy that I know. IRL. Bro benches like 4.5 plates on each side. Anyways, back to it. You see one seller in the market who has a whiteboard, they're selling a whiteboard and they have a marker as a differentiator. They perform good. You have another seller who just has a magnetic whiteboard and they perform well. And then you see another seller who has a magnetic whiteboard with just magnets and they perform well. You can create a hybrid listing of all of these sellers. So then your offer would be a whiteboard. Oh, also you would go see what the most popular size is, just like I showed you guys in the example. You would see what the most popular size is. Then you would create a magnetic whiteboard. You would add whiteboard markers as one of your bonus items. You would add magnets as one of your bonus items. You would add a whiteboard eraser as one of your bonus items. And now all of a sudden you've created an offer that, based on data, other people with those individual things perform well, but you've created a differentiator that hasn't been launched on the market before, but is different from everybody else. And then add one more thing onto that. If you can be price competitive with that product, then, the one with just whiteboard markers, it sells for $39.99, and you sell yours that's magnetic, whiteboard markers, eraser, and magnets for $39.99. Like, as a customer, why would I not get that one? How do I decide what Amazon Marketplace is? A YT comment. US, UK, India, etc. to sell in, sir. US is the number one market. I would sell where the most amount of customers are. US is the number one market on Amazon that y'all should be looking into. Another thing is there are some gym videos that I posted on the TikTok today. Last video is 5 tools that I use to sell on Amazon. Second to last video is an update in the series where I'm taking a brand new Amazon seller account from 0 to $1 million in sales. I give y'all a little update that I'm launching 2 new products. Third to last video is how to validate a product that you want to sell on Amazon. Fourth to last video, because this one was a funny one, are 30% profit margins low for an Amazon business? There was somebody who left a comment on my video trying to say that 30% margin is nothing, especially after taxes, you make no money. And I was like, oh, this guy doesn't really understand business. And I show you guys how he doesn't understand business in that video. Is it okay to not be fully confident when launching a product? Expand on that. Nobody. Are you not fully confident in it because you fear failing, or are you not fully confident in it because you think that, because you don't think that your differentiator is good or the product market is good? Because I think it's okay to have some butterflies, some pre-launch jitters. We're human, totally normal. But in the sense of not being confident in what you're launching, like, I want to be confident in all the products that I've launched. Even products that I failed, I was confident in. So that's really contextual. I would not want to launch a product that I did not think was going to do well. Well, actually, I have done that, and it has performed well. It was more so like I was confident in the differentiator. I was confident in the product market. I just talked smack on the product, and I was like, who would ever buy this product? Obviously, the numbers told a different story because people were buying that product. But I was just like, who would launch this? But it ended up being one of the best products that I've ever launched. That was last year. How much initial investment is realistically required for a beginner? I'd say $3K. I mean, doing everything in my power, but not having high hopes because anything can happen. Yeah, I think that's normal, bro. I think that's very normal. But then let me give you the other side of that coin. So being not confident, but doing everything, or not being confident because anything can happen, but like you said in the first part of the sentence, doing everything in your power to make it work. I truly do believe this is the number one reason why people fail selling on Amazon and in every business. It's why I recommend the 10x rule so much for people in any venture that you do in life. To be honest, I think it's one of the best books that you can get. Real quick. Because most people miscalculate the effort that's required to make something work. Would Amazon punish you for a poor CTR? I mean, I wouldn't say punish, but you're just not going to get as many clicks. So the data will punish you, but not necessarily Amazon. Amazon will punish you if you do not have a good conversion rate, or you don't not at the beginning, because that's okay. But over time, like, they'll punish you in the sense of you will waste a bunch of money on PPC ads if you have a low conversion rate. Conversion rate, organic rank are the two most important things when it comes to selling on Amazon. But going back to my original thought, so many people miscalculate the effort that they need to actually start a business. Part of that, I think, is because I don't think anybody in this live, I'm really speaking to like your average person who's not out here trying to learn and they just think it's a get rich quick scheme. So don't think I'm talking to any of you, but I think it's partly because people are lazy. That's why the flashy content does so well. Like, the people who make Amazon seem like it's the easiest thing in the world. Whereas, like, when I'm going through and giving analytical, in-depth videos and guidance and stuff, like, it's not going to go viral because people want the viral of, like, those videos, like the arbitrage sellers. They're like, oh yeah, this is how I print money by going to Walmart and just shopping. It's like, it sounds good. It's like one of those things too good to be true. Not saying it's too good. Not saying it's not true that people don't make money that way. But if I had a poor conversion rate, does that mean I'd have to spend more on bid and daily budget to get impressions? No, conversion rate is how many people click versus buy your product. That has nothing to do with ads. There's nothing that you can do on your ads, assuming that you're bidding on relevant keywords, that's going to increase your conversion rate. That has everything to do with your reviews and listing. So to that point, and I'm not saying anything about you, it's just a good transition to the story that the path that I was going on with that little rant, is people will just assume, like, oh, I launch a product on Amazon. As soon as I have my listing, I'm good to go. But it's like, well, you're probably going to have to optimize that listing. You're probably going to have to push for reviews. You're probably going to have to push for more reviews than you had initially started. Or not started, initially intended. It takes work to make a business work. If it was a get rich quick scheme and it was easy for everybody, then nobody would have a 9-to-5 job and everybody would be entrepreneurs. But it's not. And you have to give it your all. Hey, Luke, hope you're doing well. Thank you, Sultan. You too, brother. How to start business on Amazon. Follow along to my videos. Ask questions in this live. Get a product research software and find a product to sell. Got videos on all of those things, my guy. Make sure you're following the page. True, my conversion's still not good after optimizing my listing 5+ times, going for a 6-1 right now. There you go. I love it, Sheep. Is IP Accelerator a good way for brand registration? Yes, it is. Or if you're in the mentorship student program, we recently launched our own trademark service. I'm glad it's difficult because that means it's something worth doing. Exactly. I'm telling you, like, there are going to be so many people who fail because they just didn't do it right. Because they were sold this pipe dream of, oh, I just launch a product and I'm going to be rich like all these other people. And that goes for arbitrage, wholesale, private label. Like they're all going to have similar or equal failure rates, more or less. People are like, oh, just go scan products in store for the arbitrage people and you'll be printing money, or wholesale kind of same, but different. Or even the private label crowd who goes and they're like, yeah, bro, just launch a product on Amazon and you'll be able to sell and you work from anywhere and this or that. Like, it's a business, you guys. And again, I'm not saying this to anyone in here because I don't think that anybody in here has that mindset, but it's going to require effort. Anything worth doing is going to have its challenges. How long would a successful product last? It's an evergreen business model, Zane. So God willing, forever. You know, this account been selling the same products for 5 years plus, for 4 years, 5 years. Oh, I got to do a puzzle to stay on live. Let's do that puzzle. Hi, do you do private label or brands? Private label. How have tariffs affected you on China and the recent India tariffs? Honestly, bro, they haven't affected me at all. Thank you. I quickly realized how poor my main image is. I'd also need to fix the title and get reviews to get a better CTR. Yes, and a better conversion. Everything that comes out of your mouth is literally so true, Luke. Like literally going through it right now. Yes, sir, Salem, but you're on the path, bro. You're on the path, and I believe that you're going to make it work. Luke, I decided yesterday to try to get to page 1, so I upped my bid top of search 20%. My ad spend today is $140 and $190 in sales. Just don't let that ad spend get away from you, sheep, because, you know, it's nice because you get the sales, but at $140 in spend, $190 in sales, you're probably in the red. So you don't want to be too much in the red. What are the best freight forwarding companies in China? Honestly, brother, I haven't used a freight forwarder for the last 2 years, like an external freight forwarder, because I created my own freight forwarder and they handled the shipments for all of my students and myself. Not all of my students, but a good portion of my students and myself. I ship all of my products through them. Yeah, you're right. But is it even smart to do this while my CVR is not good? No. Could you touch on how that works? Yeah, it's just a freight forwarding company that I created, boots on the ground in China. And it's just like your standard freight forwarder, like Forwarder One or whatever. And they pick the products up from the manufacturer and then they ship them directly to Amazon. And it's DDP shipping, so they handle customs, pickup, and direct delivery to Amazon. Congratulations! I've noticed your sales have increased since I began to follow you. Yes, ma'am, Meg. Yes, ma'am. Y'all will see, God willing, the sales increase every month when I update the screenshot. So say you lower the bids and keep working on CVR. So you say you lower the bids and keep working on CVR before trying to rank to page 1. Yeah. Because if you continue this for the next 10 days, and now let's say you're at like $1,000 loss, like it adds up and it becomes unbearable to be at such a loss operating that business. Now, I've seen people run at losses, including myself, on a product, and they turn it around. So it's not going to be the end all be all. But a lot of that money, like that $1,000 that you were in the red, that can go towards listing optimizations rather than going towards just losing money to get sales that you're not actually making any money on. You know what I mean? Now, we've been given an hour of straight value. This is my shameless plug time. For those who wanted a more in-depth guide and to have me as your personal mentor along your entire journey, have direct access to me, be able to message me any questions, have my exact A through Z guide on Amazon, be sure to check out the AMZ Masterclass in the TikTok bio. You guys could go through here and see all the things that are included. Y'all can see some student results right here as well. And then if you were interested, you would click yes, I want to apply. You'd go through this very quick questionnaire, takes no more than 2 minutes. Actually fill it out proper, because this is what the team, aka Adam, is going to be looking at to help you create a unique plan for your unique situation. I'm going to hide this next part so I don't dox my phone number and email. And if y'all qualify for the main mentorship, you will be brought to this page right here. If you do not qualify for the main mentorship, then you will not be brought to this page. You'll be brought to a different page. Here are some more student results as well. And then you guys would select a date and time to hop on a call with my guy, Adam. Adam is our onboarding specialist, super cool dude, sells on Amazon himself and in the AMZ Masterclass, and he'll be able to get y'all right. Have you ever tried manufacturing products yourself so you have competition advantage? No, I would never want to be a manufacturer. How do you optimize listing? Main image, reviews, title, bullet points, infographics, A+ content. I have a few videos on my TikTok on how to do that. I also have a video in my drafts on how to do that. So y'all make sure that you are following the page. But I guess I'll stop this and then focus on fixing my CVR. Yes, sir. But on that note, y'all make sure to go show some love to my last few videos. Been posting 3 to 5 videos on TikTok every single day. Check out the AMZ Masterclass, and I hope everybody has a blessed rest of their night.